I like how you whoop, whoop.
What is going on YouTube? It's Brendan from Market Makers. Special video for you today. Guys, there's a key Fibonacci pivot occurring this Thursday on the indices. I want to share that with you. It could produce a potential top for us, at least a temporary top that we could potentially trade if we get a formation of a pattern there, as well as the ultimate upside targets of where I think these rallies are going. And I do expect that the upside targets to get a strong retracement due to the overheated nature of the market. The hive mind is very powerful right now. Everybody on Bloomberg and CNBC, a lot of guys on YouTube, this is what you should buy. New bull market, buy, buy, buy. Now, as you guys know, we're expecting this move up. The markets are stretched thin. We're expecting a retracement. We're going to go over those levels again today. And then what happens with that retracement will determine how much higher we can go and we can pull new targets, or if we are in fact topping out for a much larger retracement, okay? So we're gonna cover all that in the information today. You're only gonna get it here on this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. I reply to all of them. Without further ado, Lee, let's start the show. All right, guys, let's start off with the 10-year yield. Take a look. We had the nice parabolic rise up, the parabolic fall down. We fell right to the 618 at 3.928. Extremely reminiscent. We've been over this. Extremely reminiscent of the GFC. We did hold the 618. Now in the GFC, once we hit our peak of 5.2, we sold off and came right back up here in the yields and got this secondary peak. Will we get another peak? I don't know. We shall see how this plays out. But remember, these longer term bonds, these yields, this is reflective of the strength of the economy. And when the yields plummet like this, it's because of all the recessionary indicators flashing dark red. Something we'll be going over in the Black Rhino recession event when I release that video. Let's go ahead and look at this on the DXY as well. DXY had a nice sell-off. You're down at 102.546. So you bounced here right off the 707 at 101.855, and you're just kind of hovering. Not a lot to talk about right now. The key things I want to talk about here are sequencing and what's coming up this Thursday. So first, let's start on the S&P. The S&P, when you're looking at market geometry, remember market symmetry is very important. You can find key and reflexive points for potential trade setups. This is the market low 34.89 back here on October 11th, 2022. 20% up move, sell off. 21% up move, sell off, right? This is the trade up here at 45.92, captured this 500-point drop. And now we had another 20%, or on our way to a 20% up move. I wanted to show you the symmetry because 20.64 is the geometric mean of the prior two waves. Does it mean you have to get there? No, but what it does mean is I start looking for targets in that area. Let me show you this here. Using a Fibonacci retracement from the top of the correction to the bottom of the correction. The 1618 brings you to 49.22. Market's currently 47.53, just now passing the 1272 if we can hold above it at 47.47. So 49.22, that overspill to 49.79. This is my kill box for this rally. If it just continues to go up here in the holiday season, the Santa Claus rally, that's the kill box where I'll be looking to take a much larger trade position if we build some type of pattern. Right now, we're just watching the market and how it behaves. When we look at the MFI, we're on a 3-day chart, guys. MFI on a 3-day is approaching overbought. We're not there yet. My volatility momentum is already in the red. We know the the markets are stretched thin. You don't need me to tell you that. It's 1,000 guys on YouTube telling you that, I'm sure. We know they're stretched thin, but what you need to understand is the markets can move on low volume very easily. Easy time to manipulate because you can have fewer people, fewer participants paying higher prices and move the markets up. And mainstream media is pressing the buy button on retail right now. What does retail like to do? They like to buy tops. That's what retail likes to do. So everybody's going to try to chase. This will take out your all-time high, by the way. Everybody's trying to chase this rally right now. Your all-time high at 48.20. We're at 47.54. So you could easily see the all-time high get taken out, 49.22. This could be something we rally into January for. And then really this is a kill box. I'm looking to take that trade on the S&P. But let's look at this on a clean chart because we talked about a key Fibonacci pivot. I'm going to show you guys something. So let me go ahead and mark this day off really quick. December 21st. Some of you may know what this day is. Many of you probably do not. There's cardinal points in the market. These are the spring equinox, the summer solstice, the fall equinox, and once again, the winter solstice, which is coming up on December 21st. Now, looking at Fibonacci sequencing here, you guys probably heard of TD9, Tom DeMark, TD9. Well, that's basically based off a Gann count. Gann wrote over 100 years ago, you can look for trend reversals in 7 to 10 bars. I use Fibonacci sequencing for bars to look at how long in duration a trend has been in place. This is something that can be really key. If we're going to start off here on the S&P will give us 55 days right on the winter solstice. This could mean we end up forming a top here. Could be a temporary top on our way up to 49.22 because that's harmonic expansion. So if we look at this here, again, let's pull our fib on this clean chart on the daily. We get the 1272 up here, and then we have the 1618 at 49.22. If we keep pushing up a few more days here, let's check the 1414. This is a harmonic ratio. That's at 48.19. So let's see what happens here in the next 3 days until Thursday. This will be really interesting to see if this happens. And I know a lot of people aren't aware of cardinal points. Cardinal points are very important. Long-term subs hear me talk about the spring and fall equinoxes all the time. And why is that? Because when you look at major pivots, major market events, they tend to occur in the spring and fall equinox. This is not a secret. The dot-com rally peaked in March of 2000. It accelerated in the fall equinox of September 2001. 9/11 happened in the fall equinox. And then you had the market bottom in the fall equinox of 2002 for dot-com. And the GFC was the reverse. The GFC bottomed in the spring equinox, okay? So key market bottoms and key market tops happen over and over again in the fall and in the spring equinoxes. That's because if you understand the principle of golden shapes in the marketplace, the market adheres to natural law. And a lot of you are laughing or rolling your eyes right now. What do you think trading in a triangle is? So many of you will draw bear flag patterns. I got a triangle. I got an ascending triangle, a descending triangle. That's because the market adheres to natural law. And the cardinal points in the market represent a circle, spring being 0 degrees on the circle, 90-degree intervals as you travel through this. And you look at the more recent key events in the marketplace as well. When did the plague happen? Spring equinox. So these are things you need to understand. When did Lehman fail? When did Lehman fail and the GFC? They failed in the, Lehman was in the spring equinox in the GFC. Bear Stearns failed and the fall equinox of the GFC. When did SVB fail? New York SIG, the second largest bank failure in American history. When did they fail? Spring equinox, 2023. Markets move in patterns, and understanding cardinal points in the market, this is a long rant, understanding these patterns in an esoteric sense can help you find trades. So we have a 55-day bar count expiring or hitting, I should say, December 21st. right on the winter solstice. So this could be a temporary move wherever price gets to. Maybe it stops where it is at the 1272 fib. Maybe it gets up closer to 4,800. Maybe we get some type of retracement for the market to cool off, right? Some type of retracement, and then you could potentially resume your rally. My ultimate target for this rally is 49.22 with the overspill here to 49.79. So basically 4,900, 49.22 to 5,000, right? That's my kill box target ultimately for this rally. This could go into January and peak. When did it do that? It just did that in last year. January 4th, 2022, that is when the S&P peaked. You could see a repeat of this, and I would watch these targets because this can be a very key target. But watch this inflection point here in the market and see how the market behaves this Thursday for the winter solstice and a 55 bar count on Fibonacci. Okay. No one's going to tell you this stuff on YouTube because nobody understands these things on YouTube. But let's go ahead and go to the Russell. Russell, very interesting as well. Guys, in a larger Fibonacci count, what are we talking about in a larger Fibonacci count? We were just counting days, 55 days. But remember, this is the 8th up week. If we finish up this week, this is also a Fibonacci up count in sequencing, 8 being a Fibonacci number. So that's another reason you should watch this. But you're seeing the same thing across the indices. Let's look at the Russell. If we come out to December 21st, we got to put this on the daily. We come out to December 21st here. Let's go ahead and move this over. December 21st, 55 days once again. Okay, so 55 days on the Russell is December 21st. Again, this is a Fibonacci count that I'm going to be paying attention to. You guys should pay attention to it as well. And when you start looking at these charts, you can see some interesting things, specifically like on the Russell potentially developing, which may be putting in a double top structure here as we look at this. Let's go back to the 3-day. I want to show you this. You hear all the buzz on the media right now. Buy small caps. They're so undervalued. I'm in small caps. That's why you've had this parabolic rise in small caps. But in reality, guys, zoom out. Look at your 3-day. Look at your weekly. All you are is in a kill zone for the Russell where it has struggled going all the way back to summer of 2022. June of 2022, you put these tops in and you have not been able to take them out yet. And also keep in mind overall where you are in the cycle. The S&P is extremely close to its all-time high. The Nasdaq's going to take out the all-time high. The Dow took out the all-time high. And look how far down the Russell is. Look where the Russell is even after this big rally. The Russell is still 18% down off its all-time high. Now, the media will tell you that's why you should buy it because there's a lot more upside. I saw Tom Lee saying 50% more upside going into 2023 here in the Russell. But you guys know, you've been watching this channel long enough. What does the Russell need to do to show me that it wants to break out? Get on top of the trading range that has held in place for over a year. Get on top, pivot out. That's your break where you can trade the Russell. Wherever this price is, you make this base, you pivot out to the upside. Till then, this is setting up for what could be another massive 300 bar retracement here in the Russell. So just be aware of that. It's the binary nature of trading this. Remember, 40% of the companies in the Russell make $0. They make no money. They live off of loans. That's why the Russell's been struggling this whole time while everything else has been rallying. So just something to pay attention to. So look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin on a 3-day chart. So on a 3-day chart, you definitely want to pay attention to this. We have our diamond breakout. We have our 40% long winner from the trade I shared with you October 23rd. We're holding this key support level we talked about, the 2618, using it as support, 41,186. What does this look like? It looks like the first wave here in a 3-wave move, right? So there's your wave down, and you want to see what this does on a rebound back up. That's what you want to look at because your upside target, if you can take out this pivot here on Bitcoin, your upside target is that next level up, which is the 618 or just shy beneath it if we take a fib, but 48,624. If we take a fib and get a harmonic expansion up there, you're looking at 47.5. to 48,624. So that 1,000 point differential, 900 point differential. But you want to see Bitcoin take out that 44,733 here to really move up to that next level. Let's look at this on a daily chart. On the daily chart, you can see you already had a double top that formed. But the key thing is you can have double tops, doesn't matter unless they break down, right? And you're holding the 382 at 40,846, as you can see. So what you want to see is if this resets and comes back up, does it come back up and roll over underneath that fractal again? Does it start giving you another pattern? And what are the markets doing? Are the markets topping out? Are they starting to retrace? Are they looking like they're making a top this Thursday? Tie all these things together, but this is your key level area here, that 44,744. You would have to break on Bitcoin, come up, get some type of pivot. Pivots can be difficult in Bitcoin because it's so parabolic, it'll just pump and run. Kind of like a pump and touch and go. But you want to see this come up and take out that fractal, which I believe you will once you see the S&P pulling up to 49.22. The key is, do we retrace at all before that? And we should. I mean, we really should retrace before. These markets are on a run or on a stampede, but they can stay that way for a while, guys. So this is what I'd watch on Bitcoin. Let's look at the indicators here on Bitcoin. See, your oscillator, your MFI is coming down, right? Bitcoin's coming down, momentum's coming down. Tells you a couple of things. One, if you can hold this support area, that 40,856, eventually here on the daily, this is going to start to swing back up. And that's when you're going to look at that larger move, okay? This larger move, does it just roll up to a level and roll back over like on that 3-day? Because that's what it looks like when you zoom out on the 3-day. You have to move down. You're going to see the third wave, the move back up, right? You want to see that move back up. Can you take out that fractal or do you form underneath it? And what are the markets doing? So let's look at this from a fib perspective for resistance. And if you look at this from a fib perspective for resistance here on the daily time frame, let me zoom in some so you guys can see this. Your 618 is at 43. The 786 is 43.77. So you really want to see Bitcoin come up. It has to break that 786, obviously, to get above this one fib at 44.7. So break that 786 at 43.777 and see if you can get more upside with the markets. If not, look for this to just start rolling once again. And you can find these trades, right? So you have this wave up. That's your 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave. This is your 4. A 5-wave topping pattern would be this 5th wave back up. See where it dies if the markets are also retracing. That could be at that 43.777 level. So let's look at the Dow. Dow made its new all-time high. We're on a 3-day chart here. We have the Fibonacci count on the Dow as well, but let's look at our targets really quickly. Go ahead and pull our targets here on the Dow. That peak here, 37,720. We're at 37,378 right now. 37,720 is my kill zone between 37,720 and 38,350. This is where I'd like to see the Dow get to. This is harmonic expansion. It's been on a rip. It's made a new all-time high. We start looking at our indicators on the 3-day chart. You're about to hit overbought. Remember, you can stay in overbought for a while, but you're about to hit overbought. So this is something to watch. Right now on a 3-day chart, you're putting in a doji. This is still young. You still have another day on this candle. But let's look at this on the daily as well. On the daily, you can see we had a nice move up still today, just 44 points or so as I'm recording this. But let's look because we got a couple things happening. We got our 1618 at 37,720. Let's go ahead and get this Fibonacci sequencing count, looking for a potential counter trend pivot here on the 55 number. 55 puts you on December 21st, again, winter solstice. So this is another one to watch. Watch what happens Thursday on the Dow. Watch what it does on the S&P. And of course, see how it correlates with Bitcoin. And, you can make some decisions here. So that's the key level I'm watching here. And the key support level is your 36,583 just beneath you. So you're right in between. This would be great if this can come up another, 37,720. We just need another 350 points to get to this golden ratio. And today's Monday. And the potential pivot would be on Thursday. So you could see, when we're talking about retracements, you could see something like this come up, pull back down, maybe come back down, and then you can start seeing if you're going to make a bullish pattern to go to more upside or if you start topping out, right? Let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, I went ahead and threw this in. The NASDAQ's 55-day count is going to be on Wednesday. NASDAQ's at 16,769 right now. It may have already passed. Its all-time high was 16,771. This is the NASDAQ 100. And where do we get to? 16,776. So we took out the all-time high. So the S&P has not taken out the all-time high yet, but the NASDAQ has, the Dow has, obviously the European indices have multiple times, but that's where we are right now. So let's look at our key retracements here once again. We're going to look at this corrective low, right? Or the corrective high down to the corrective low. The NASDAQ 17.1 is the 1618. That's what I'm looking at here. So my kill box is going to be just above it, 17.1 to 17.3. And then watch this pivot as well. Let's see if we make any more progress towards 17.1. You're at 16,770 right now. So let's see if we make any more progress towards the 1618. This is harmonic expansion. This is your W that you formed right here. You see this? This is your W that you formed. And I'd be looking for this to potentially hold this zone, give us a topping pattern to potentially trade. And this might not occur until after the holiday. It might occur this week in the next 3 days. This isn't a lot of points here. So we'll see what the market wants to do. Right now, the market's up 143 points. This could easily occur this week, or you could start seeing some retracement now that you took out the all-time high. So all things you need to watch, okay? So key pivot on Thursday in these indices, Wednesday for the NASDAQ, but Thursday's the winter solstice. So watch these indices, see if they set up in smaller time frames for tops or something tradable to potentially get a retracement. And if not, keep in mind these higher level targets, because ultimately I think these higher level targets are going to be reached across the board. Let's look at gold really quick. Gold on an 8-hour time frame, left the fib from the last video. If gold wants to put in a W here, this would be where it would do it. Okay, so this is what you're looking at here on gold. It's struggling right now at the 2030 level. You fell down to 2025. If the market feels like it's going a little bit more risk on, gold's been moving with the market. Let's just get a narrow projection here of where this pattern could go. If it does get more bullish, your 1618 would be 2067, guys, 2067. And the reason that's important, again, when you zoom out on these larger time frames, let's go to the 3-day chart. Again, we've been over this every single video, but gold has been in this range. And once you get up to that 2075 level, which is where I want to see gold retest again, you get up to this level, massive trades can ensue, especially if the equity markets start topping out and retracing by the time gold gets up here. This is a trade that we took, 250 bar drop, right? 250 bar drop. And some of these drops have been massive, from 2100 basically all the way down to 1650. So we want to see what gold does. I want to see if it keeps continuing to rise. Right now, 2026. Let's look at the DAX, the European markets. I mean, the economies there are ahead of ours as far as the decay cycle that they are in, but they didn't stop the DAX from rallying up. And if you look at this, the DAX has put in multiple all-time highs. We got right to that 16.9 level we talked about, just above it, retested it here on the 3-day candle, and now the DAX is falling down some. If the US markets do pick up and start accelerating more to the upside, you could see the DAX try to recover and maybe make a double top here in the 3-day time frame. Watch 16.9, key resistance, but your 382 is going to be all the way down here like 16.2. Let me add it back to the chart. 16,000, just 16,081. If this just does a shallow retracement, which again, the European economies are ahead of us in decay, but a shallow retracement is from 16.7 where it's at now down to 1681, right? And you could do something like this. So these patterns take time to develop. Just be aware of these key levels of resistance. 16.9 on the DAX. Let's look at this from a daily perspective. Let's get rid of some of these fibs. Let me change my drawing tool out here. Rid of this. All right. So 16.9, right? So this is where we got up to. You can see this nice rise. And the DAX as well. Let's see what your count here is on the DAX. You're probably on a Fibonacci count as well. I bet you this is probably 55 as well. Look at that. So December 21st, the winter solstice, 55 days. Right? So your 55th day. So I would love to see If the DAX wants to come back up, right, you have your wave one, wave two. Let's see if you get a three wave double top. If it can get some energy, it's at 16,685. I would love to see this thing retest 16.9. If it does, and it looks like it's topping on a smaller time frame with the Fibonacci count, with the winter solstice, a cardinal point in the market, this is something I would entertain trading with confluence of a topping pattern. And you have to see if the US markets are going berserk or if they're starting to top as well. But watch that level, guys, because there's a lot of downside in the German market. The German economy fuels the European economy as a whole, and the German economy is falling apart. The French 40, 75.75. This is a super huge level. And the CAC, the CAC, guys, this is an area that we traded. We talked about this many times. This is a massive 800-point drop from this trade. And now we're back up above these levels, just above it. You're at 75.80. This is not as strong a mover as the DAX, but watch this on a 3-day chart. Let's look at this really quickly on the daily and see if we have our Fibonacci sequence here as well. We're going to do it live, guys. We're going to do it live. Did not have time to prepare for this video today, but let's go on the daily count. 55 days brings you to, do you think that's a coincidence? The Fibonacci count, 55 days, right on the winter solstice, on all the major indices, the NASDAQ being the one exception, it's the day before. But look at this. December 21st. Watch the CAC, watch the DAX, watch the SPX, watch the NASDAQ, watch the Dow, December 21st with the Fibonacci count. See if we're putting in a top. See if that is the high for the week. This is the 8th up week. If it continues in this fashion, again, another Fibonacci count. This could be an area with these counts where we start to get a key retracement level. So watch the CAC. You're at 75.80. Would love to see this come and retest this high here up in that area, 76.54. See if we can get a nice 20, 30, 40 point bounce here in the Paris market over the next 3 days and get some interesting moves here. Let's go ahead and check, since we're doing this on all the equities, let's go ahead and check the UK FTSE. Where are we at on 55 days? 55 days, December 21st. Everything is December 21st for their winter solstice, guys, 55 days. So you've had these nice rises up. Could this be the reflexive top that we're looking for some type of key retracement? The FTSE got above 77.10. This is an interesting area, one to pay attention to. It's provided many tops just above it, just below it. So watch, you have this three-wave move here on the FTSE as well, right? You have the higher lows that we've been talking about. It's been grinding higher. You test it 77.10, you sold back off, you're trying to bounce back up. Look at your lower time frames to see if you can get back up towards that 77.10 in the next couple of days, and you can build this three-wave pattern potentially on this market and get some type of retracement. Let's look at Tesla. So talking about market symmetry, this is something important to look at on Tesla. We're looking at the 3-day chart. Notice these moves here and these power moves down, right? These are your drives. 29% move down, 30% move down. So Tesla went up, first drive down, second drive down. Now you want to look at the retracements as well back to these tops. So let's go ahead and do this as well. If you look at these retracements back up, you have a 31% move up. And then from the current low to your current top, 33% move up. So I want this to sink in a second. Tesla is moving in 30% increments down. You see this, 29% down, 30% down, 31 to 33% up right now. And of course, it's retraced. If you actually put this where it got to, look at that, 31.15 versus 31.37. Lots of market geometry, market symmetry here on Tesla. So when you translate this to look at fib targets, if you're going to end up getting a 3 drives down pattern, then you want to see what this could top out at from the second drive. We're going to look at this. 786 at 260 is an area I would be interested in looking at Tesla if the markets start to top, giving you completion of a third move down, right? Because right now you have top 1, top 2, could be working on top 3 right here unless you can break above this current pivot up here at 278. Could be working on top 3, which means according to the market symmetry Tesla's giving you, the next move down would be once again 30%. So that's something you want to watch. Let's go ahead and show you this real quick and then see if we have a fib that lines up with it. There's your 30% move down. So let's take it from, let's say we get up here to the 260, right? 260, let's go down 30%. 30%. That takes you down to 181. Does a fib get you there as well? Got to go to that 786 fib. Fib I have closest to it is 175. So you got 181 on the target here, percentage wise, 176 actually, 175.93, 176, so within $5. That would be that next move down if Tesla is topping out here for a third top, producing your third wave down. Wave one, drive two, potentially drive three. So that's Tesla, guys. You want to watch 260 key level, and ultimately you want to take out 278 to reverse this downtrend. Let's look at MSTR. Not a lot going on here. MSTR is still hovering around our golden ratio of 578. We've had candles above, multiple candles below. Obviously, with Bitcoin struggling, this is struggling as well. We want to see more clarity there before we do anything on MSTR. NVIDIA, lots of people are interested in this equity as well. Let's go ahead and pull this down. Look at NVIDIA. It's right at the 886 at 499. You want to take out this pivot here at 505. If you don't take out this pivot, you guys probably already see this. What do we have? We have a massive three-wave pattern, right? Got a massive three-wave pattern here, aka a double top. And if the markets are topping soon for a retracement potentially on Thursday with the winter solstice, be interesting to see where NVIDIA tops out. If it tops right back out at equal top here and you start seeing retracements or topping in the markets, this could be a potential trade as well. This is a leader for the whole year. I think it's up 240%. Crazy, crazy money. But ultimately, guys, if the markets do want to push up, if we don't get much of a retracement or it's very shallow, where could this bounce up to? 539. 539 would be in confluence with the other markets continuing to rise. NVIDIA trading right now at 500. So watch this Thursday key time frame and watch those levels I gave you. Guys, give me your comments down below, and the next video will be on Thursday. Take care, everybody.